Welcome back to another session of AI learning. Today, we are going to build an AI-powered personal assistant using Python. The use case we will go through is that of a marketing manager who wants some help with creating activation ideas along with a schedule, a budget, and a view of the returns on investment for this marketing activity. So, let us see how to create such an AI assistant that can help us with this task. First of all, we need an API key that will help us to talk to the AI platforms like OpenAI, Google Gemini, or Anthropic. So we can use this API key in our code to talk to the AI platforms and get a response from them. Now, for the purpose of this demo, we will be using Anthropic AI. So head over to the Anthropic console and get API keys there. Of course, create your account with Anthropic and do your basic setup. And head over to the Dev Studio and get the API keys. Now, I have already created a couple of demo keys for this purpose. So I'm going to head over to Google Colab now. In my previous videos, I had shown how to use Google Colab and how to write some simple Python code. So here we are going to use the Google Colab environment. This helps us to avoid doing anything on our local environment or on our local machines. And Google gives us an environment to experiment on. Now, so in Google Colab, we are going to head over to the secrets. And as you can see, I've already stored some secret keys here, one from Anthropic, one from Gemini, and you can add new secrets, maybe if you want another OpenAI key. And Colab also gives me a suggested code of how to use these keys in my notebook. And I have enabled the notebook access, so which means when I write a code in my notebook, I will be able to access these keys. With the secrets safely stored, let us start coding. All of this code is generated by AI, and I have just edited it to make it specific to our use case. So first of all, we need to install the Anthropic and schedule modules so we can import them in our code. AI suggested that we import OS, but we will not need OS because the AI code that was generated assumed that I would store the secret in my local machine in a file, and that's why I would have needed to import OS and access the file from my local. But since we have stored the secret key in Google Colab, we will simply use from Google Colab import user data. And the way we use the key is we initialize the Anthropic client using this command. Next, we define a function to get the AI response using the user input as the prompt. So this prompt is embedded between the variables that we had imported here. So import the user input between the human prompt and AI prompt. This tells Anthropic to start generating the response at this stage, and it returns the response on completion. Then we will define our main function. So this is where we put in the logic for the AI-powered personal assistant. Since we are focusing on a marketing AI assistant, let's take a specific use case of Fieldays. And if we find Fieldays in the user input, then we create a prompt which is specifically trained towards getting a response relating to a Fieldays activation. Right, so we have created a prompt which says suggest 3 engaging activities for based on the user input, and along with that give me a schedule of the planning activities and the estimated cost calculations with estimated ROI. So what this prompt does is it takes the basic user input and embeds the user input into an already created prompt. Now, the way you would use this practically is to use a prompt library. I have just created a dummy prompt or a sample prompt here, but this sample prompt would actually exist in a prompt library. Your user inputs would be embedded into the prompt which you select from the prompt library, and it would get an AI response from the platform that we select. So let's run this code. So when we run this code, it starts installing the necessary modules, runs through the code that we are executing, and there it has started downloading and installing stuff. And there you go. So this is the main part. So it says, welcome to your AI-powered personal assistant. How can I help you today? And if I say I want to create a Fieldays activation for, let's say I own a gazebo company. So for a Kivitech gazebos, and enter. So that generated an error. Let's see what the error is. So what has happened is it took our input, Fieldays activation for Kivitech gazebos. It found that the user input had Fieldays as a keyword. So it started planning. Let me help you plan your Fieldays activation. Next, it formulated the prompt, the human prompt, and AI prompt, sent this prompt to Anthropic, and came back with a response saying, oh yes, of course, your credit balance is too low to access the Anthropic API. So we have created the API key, but we have not topped up our balance. So obviously it is not going to return a response to us. But what this shows is at least our code is working in the sense that it took an input from the user, it passed on that input to Anthropic AI, and came back with a response from the Anthropic AI platform. So let me set this up with the API key and come back with a response. Okay, so we're all set now. So I'm not going to go into the details of activating the API key with the payments and getting the response tested with the AI platform. I'll show you how we used our Python code and how it can be used to create a marketing assistant. So what I've done here is I put that I used the Python code that was already generated previously and created an HTML page. Now this is a better formatted than accepting the user input in Google Colab. So this HTML page basically takes the input from the user in terms of an event. So let's say we want the event to be Fieldays New Zealand 2024, and the company name is Kivitech Gazebos. When I submit this, it's going to go to Anthropic, get me back. Well, I got this from Google Gemini, so use another platform. But this is the response that the AI platform gave me. So basically, what we have is so we have not given any other feedback on this page, right? All of that prompt is in our prompt library in our code. So it has come back with 3 engaging activation ideas with estimated cost calculations and potential ROI. And it gives us 3 activities. So one of the sample activities is build your own gazebo challenge. It describes the concept, gives us a list of activities, gives us an estimated cost and the ROI. It gives us a second idea and a third idea. And these are the activations that the marketing manager can build on, look at the cost, look at the ROI, and arrive at a decision of how they want to proceed with their Fieldays marketing activities. And it also gives us some key considerations. So a target audience, what is the budget, and how to measure the success through some metrics. So this is how you can, again, this is a very simple use case. You can now use your imagination to see what use cases can AI help you with in your day-to-day work activities or within your organization. And frankly, the only thing that's stopping you with all of these AI tools available is your imagination